What is up, book nerds? NFL GM tier list. I know I did a video like this back in March, but I learned a lot. Realized a lot of those takes are incredibly casual. And now I'm going to remake that video, trying to break formula a bit. Let's hop into it. First off, I want to get started with some of the newer GMs who I only have their draft to go off of. We start off with the Jags, who picked up Travis Hunter in a big trade move with the Browns. Then we have the what am I doing? The Patriots didn't pick up a new GM. They picked up one last year. I meant to pick up the Titans sitting next to him, but let's go with the Raiders because they picked up Ashton Genty, who I think will probably be a top 5 running back in the league. Then let's talk about the Titans, who picked up Cam Ward. Hopefully, is their next quarterback. Then we have the Jets, who got Justin Fields in free agency and moved off of Aaron Rodgers in one of the policies, kind of rude ways, but it's Aaron Rodgers, so it's fitting. At least they finally moved off of him. And now you can pretend like Zach Wilson never happened and pretend you just drafted Justin Fields. Then I want to talk about the GOAT, Howie Roseman, the greatest GM of all time. He's not infallible. Jalen Rieger still haunts his nightmares, I'm sure. But he built 2 Super Bowl contenders with 2 different quarterbacks. Has kept the Eagles consistently good, except for COVID. Granted, who else wants to forget about COVID? Um, he's built a lot of great teams and has pulled off some of the greatest fleeces in NFL history. And he basically became the Titans' daddy. Have y'all seen what Howie Roseman has done to the Titans between the A.J. Brown trade? And there are just so many things. The Titans are Eagles merchants. I stand by that. Then we go with the Niners GM. Built a consistently great squad, except for this year, and can't get them over the hump. Which I think part of that does fall on Kyle Shanahan not being able to finish the job. He couldn't even finish a job when he was in Atlanta, and he still can't finish a job in San Francisco. Then we go with the Bears. Poles drafted Caleb Williams. Got Rome Dunze, who is questionable. Some of that draft is questionable. Needs to build the trenches. Maybe that O line is finally good, but did pull off one of the greatest trades in history with the Panthers. Fleeced them horribly, and built a solid team. Well, I wouldn't say solid, but built a pretty alright team. And now they have Ben Johnson. So if y'all can't make it work after all this, you might be cooked. Bengals, this GM might be getting fired. Because, granted, you drafted Joe Burrow, you drafted Jamar Chase, you drafted T. Higgins. You can't build a defense. I don't know if it's because you're cheap. Granted, you won't pay Trey Henderson, who's the only good person on your defense, and you won't even pay your rookie defender. The rookie first round pick might get cut. Not cut. He might just quit on the team and go back to the draft next year because they're making him do some bilingual deal and they still haven't worked out a contract. How you may literally lose your first round pick on the defense. You have one of the worst defenses in the league. That Super Bowl is that was years ago. That was 4 years ago. That's something else. Because you need to build a defense. You can't score 50 points in a game. Your offense is good, but they're not 50 points in a game good. And that you've built an offense. That's all you've done. The Rams, Les Snead has been good. He kind of has the motto of buy a ring. Y'all did a lot of moves in that year. You brought Von Miller, OBJ, Jalen Ramsey, traded for Matt Stafford, and built yourself a contender. Now you drafted Puka Nacua and you have Devontae Adams. Matthew Stafford getting up there in age, but you still have a solid team. And the Chiefs, part of me really does credit you in drafting Patrick Mahomes and getting a lot of solid talent around him, but also none of these teams have been crazy. Like a lot of this, I feel like these teams would not be playoff contenders if Patrick Mahomes was not your quarterback. So I wouldn't put you at Howie. Then we have the Ravens, who didn't draft Lamar, so that's what's keeping them out of A tier. You did bring in Derrick Henry. You drafted late round stuff like Isaiah Likely. You did well in the first round with people like Zay Flowers, but you haven't made enough moves to finally get you over the hump. And there's another team in a very similar boat to them, but I'll get to them in a couple minutes. Now we have the Falcons, who done so many questionable decisions. You draft Kyle Pitts instead of Jamar Chase. You draft Drake London when I think there were better wide receivers in that class. Then you draft Bijan Robinson when you already have Algier when your defense is struggling. Then, again, when your defense is struggling, you draft a rookie quarterback when you already signed Kirk Cousins. That Kirk Cousins sign was already looking horrible. You have the highest paid backup in the league. And then when you do go defense, you reach for James Pierce Jr. in the first round when you probably could have got him in the second. What the heck are you doing? Yeah, your offense has looked good on paper. You draft with the best looking offensive rookie and then underuse him. How much stuff has been underused in Atlanta? What the heck is going on down there? Y'all have been this close to winning the division, and y'all still can't win it. Then we have the Buccaneers, who actually do win that division. You bring in Tom Brady. I can't give you as much credit as anybody else in A tier because, similar to Patrick Mahomes, I think Tom Brady does carry a lot of the team. But you did get people like Mike. You did draft Mike Evans. You did sign Baker Mayfield. You drafted Bucky Irving. And now we have the Dolphins, who I think you stood by Tua. You bring in a lot of flashy players. Chris Greer, I think, is getting fired if this team does not win a playoff game. Because this team is consistently mediocre. You can't beat any team that's actually good. You can't beat anybody who's actually good. If your division gets magically good, you're cooked. The Vikings, you consistently bring in good talent in both the draft and free agency. People like Jordan Addison, you brought in Aaron Jones, you built the offensive line. Then we have the Lions, who built a team completely from scratch, so I'll put them in A tier because that team was horrible before he got there. Now we have Joe Schoen, who I've been pretty mean to because of the Daniel Jones deal, but he did get people like Malik Neighbors, had a good deal for Brian Burns. So I think that this team, I feel like if y'all could actually tank, and we could have gotten a quarterback 2 years ago. We could have already been halfway done with the rebuild if we knew how to tank. That's what I'm saying. I'm not even saying that we've been bad, but we haven't been bad enough. Then the Packers. There's one thing that when you were a Super Bowl contender with Aaron Rodgers, y'all couldn't finish the job. Consistently, y'all could not finish the damn job. Y'all drafted fourth. You basically were thinking about the future when you should have been thinking about the present. You draft someone like Jordan Love when you're trying to win with Aaron Rodgers, which I think you could have drafted a first-round pick that could have helped you win a Super Bowl with Rodgers. Texans, similar to the Lions, you built a team completely from scratch. Browns, the Deshaun Watson trade is one of the worst trades in NFL history, but that was pushed by management, so I don't completely blame you for that. You have like 5 different quarterbacks on your team. One of them has to be good because this team is looking trash. This team is looking very trash, and you might be at risk of getting fired if this team is like one of the worst in the league. Broncos, Russell Wilson trade was a very bad trade. But in the last 2 years, y'all have put together a very solid team, the best defense in the league, in my opinion. An up-and-coming offense. You get another star wide receiver to pair with Courtland Sutton, and I think you could go for a Super Bowl. but you need the Chiefs to fall off. You need a regression in Kansas City if you even want to contend. Then you have the Cowboys, Jerry Jones, someone I'm also very mean to. But I have to admit, he's very good at drafting. Yeah, you got people like CeeDee Lamb. You got people like who's their star defensive player? Why am I having a brain fart? You brought in so much talent in the draft. You have done nothing in free agency, really. And this team is consistently good, but not good enough. And now you're not even good. So I need them to not be so complacent, just not being all in my. Then we have the Bills. Similar situation to the Ravens, as I alluded to earlier, but the difference that puts him in A tier is he drafted Josh Allen. Then we have the Patriots. You bring in Drake May last year, and Joe Milton was a good backup. But other than that, that draft was horrible. Now this draft is looking pretty good, but I haven't seen it in action. So for all I know, this draft could be one of the best batch of busts I've ever seen. They could be amazing. I need to see it, but right now, I'm looking at you with a bit of a bombastic side eye. Then we have the Commanders. Similar situation to the Lions and Texans. Built a team from the ground up. Now we have the Chargers, who are in their second year. You got people like Matt McConkey, Joe, what's his name? The offensive lineman they drafted with the fourth overall pick last year. He was pretty alright. Quentin, since you haven't had that much to go off of, so I can't put you any higher than C tier because you haven't done anything to put you down in D tier. I think everybody in D tier has at least one massive flaw that I think might get them fired at the end of the season. Then we have the Steelers, who I think the biggest flaw in the Steelers, also the biggest strength, is consistency, and that they're consistently mediocre. I feel like if this team actually had some draft picks to work with, I think that this team could actually start becoming a contender. But as it stands, they won't be able to make anything. So they can't rebuild if they haven't blown up, which is kind of sad to think about because I think Mike Tomlin's reign might be ending soon. But not this year, I don't think. Then the Panthers. Last year, you drafted Xavier Legette, and then you have to draft more wide receivers this year. It's technically on Xavier Legette on paper are similar players, so I'm questioning how much confidence you have in that Xavier Legette pick. I get Stepman's supposed to be good. Your wide receiver core is supposed to be good. I have the Cardinals. Martin Harrison Jr., that was a big flashy pick that didn't exactly pan out when you have people like Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr., and then Paris Johnson has been questionable. But you have honest people on the O-line. But in that, there's a lot of questionable decisions being made. Then we have the Colts. The quarterback carousel that has set back this franchise half a decade. D tier, and then the Saints, been there since 2002. So you have won Super Bowl. You made a lot of good contending teams. And now you're just being cap managers, managing a team that's not getting any younger. So D tier, you might be getting fired. Because in NFL, there is no such thing as a tenure. They need immediate success, immediate action. You can't go off of what you've done in the past. So, but that past exists, so I have to put you in C tier. Then the Seahawks built the Legion of Boom. You won Super Bowl, but you haven't done a lot in recent years. I think I will move the Bucs down because you have won Super Bowl, but I think that Super Bowl, as I said earlier, was a bit carried by Tom Brady, but bringing in Tom Brady was a good move. And those are my thoughts. Like and subscribe, hit the bell notification to be notified when I upload next. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. What is up, book nerds? NFL GM tier list. I know I did a video like this back